What's up, Big 12 Nation? It is Tuesday night in America. That can mean only one thing. It's time for another edition of your favorite YouTube-centric, online, all the time, Big 12-themed college football show. That's right. It is time once again for the one, the only, the biggest 12 with me, your host, Clint Foster. Thanks for making us part of your Tuesday night, you fine feathered folks out there. If you're like me, you're languishing in despair at the Super Bowl that is hurtling toward us at warp speed, wishing that a meteor would hurtle toward us at the same time. But you know what? It's okay, because we got Big 12 football to talk about, baby. And it's okay, too, if you're like me and your Big 12 men's basketball team is utterly atrocious, shall we say, because this is a Big 12 football show. We're going to talk about some football, and it's going to be a fun show for you today. We're breaking down the top 10 games of the 2024 season. But before we do that, you know I need some things from you. Come on, this whole YouTube show thing, it's a two-way street, baby. All right, so I need you to like and subscribe. Subscribe at Big 12 Voice of College Football. There it is right there. That's the handle on the YouTubes. If you're watching on Twitter, oh, I love you, baby. But make sure you just hop over. Just open another tab next to this one. If you're on your computer, or, go out of the app really quick, go to YouTube, subscribe, because it's going to help us. It's going to grow the show. It really, really is going to help a lot. We need to do that. Also, follow me at Clint_Foster55 on Twitter, or X, whatever it is that floats your boat. Follow my YouTube channel at Clint Foster Comedy. Yeah, I know there's no new content on there right now. That's because with every spare moment I have between molding young minds, I'm making a documentary to beat the dadgum band, and you're going to love it, and you're going to see it right there. So, subscribe, follow, do the things, all right? And also, make sure to catch the Biggest 12 live on your favorite audio platform. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Amazon. Whatever you got, we're there. So do it. Make it a part of your commute. You can listen to the Biggest 12 once a day. I mean, imagine how much better your life would be. I'm just saying. I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying. Also, make sure you're tuning into the College Football Show with Mark Rogers. Mark's Call-In Show Thursday, Friday. Mark's Show. If you're a lover of college football, you need to be there. And we got a lot of team-specific channels that you need to be checking out. We got an Iowa State channel now. So, as soon as you know what's the Big 12, pop on over there, Cyclones Friends. We got an Ole Miss channel that you definitely need to check out. It's always at team name, VOCFP, at TCU, VOCFP, at Ole Miss, VOCFP, Iowa State, you name it. Make it a part of your college football diet. So, all that is out of the way. Without further ado, let me bring in my fabulous furry co-host, Brownie, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. How is your Tuesday, Brownie?
Did not start off great. Iowa State basketball suffered a loss early this morning at the lovely hour of 1 a.m. But it has been gradually getting better. So
good. It gets better, folks. You know what? Pull up a bag of goldfish. Pull up your giant water jug, okay? Because we're about to talk about some Big 12 football now. We're going to make it all better for you, whatever it is that you got going on. Because here's the thing. I feel like these top 10 lists, they're very important, okay? Because when you are sitting alone on those football-less nights in the spring and summer and pining for August, you can look at this top 10 list and be like, oh, yeah, there was a lot of freaking good games in 2024. Let me throw one of these on the replay. Let me throw one of these on YouTube. Throw one of these on, maybe you got like the endless cloud storage of YouTube TV, which, hell, we're paying for it. They keep raising their prices. Throw one of these games on. There were a lot of good games in 2024, Brownie, were there not?
Yeah, I mean, when you initially gave me your top 10 list, I was like, man, you're leaving off quite a few good ones. And then I'm like, yeah, but going through the top 10 list, you can't really give it top 10. Like, there were a lot of really, really good games this season. And it's really hard to come by, especially for conference play, where you can go, yeah, these were like the top 10 games. Usually you can fight for maybe top 5, top 7-ish. But this year was just like jam-packed of like, oh my God, what just happened?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, literally, I was just like kind of off the dome trying to list as many games as I could think of. And I easily had 21. just like on my phone right here, just like, well, this, well, I'm gonna do top 10. I got to trim this down, right? So then I had to really start thinking about it. I think I've got a pretty solid list, but it's up to you in the chat and in the Twitterverse to judge. Okay, so if you feel like I'm leaving a game out, let me know, and by all means, please chime in with your favorite game of the year. We'll make sure that we talk about it, whatever it is. That's my promise to you as the host of the Biggest 12. How does that sound? All right, so get active in the chat. And Timothy, good to see you, friend. You know what? I have a decent feeling about TCU going into 2025 as well. We got a much harder schedule, but we thought we were going to have a hard schedule this last year, and it turned out to not be the case. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm always optimistic in the off season. Everyone's 0-0 in the off season. Hello, Jackson. Good to see you there, man. Only 207 days until week 0, including.
And I will be there.
Oh, I'm so happy for you, Brownie. That's fantastic.
It's going to be great.
Yes.
We might have to do an impromptu one while I'm in Ireland.
Yeah, man. Get me out there. We can have like a college game day situation. Biggest 12 on location. Yeah.
The biggest 12 game day experience from Ireland. Seeing Brownie chugging a bunch of Guinness.
Yes, just us inebriated on the heaviest beer on the planet, and just like, yeah, it's gonna be a great year.
My stomach already is unsettled.
Have you been to Ireland before?
I personally have not. I've been to a lot of places in mainland Europe before, but I've never visited anywhere Ireland or UK GB. So it's going to be a fun experience.
That's cool. Yeah, man. Ireland is up near the top of my list. I've never been either, but got quite a few Irish roots. I'd love to see one of the homelands. It'd be a fun time. All right, so let's get right into this list. Okay, let's start this thing out with number 10 on my list. This was the Arizona State BYU game, and this is one that I feel like you could argue there were more thrilling finishes perhaps in the year, but just all the falderall at the end of this game. And Arizona State rushing the field too early and then having to stop a Hail Mary from BYU, and just all of the madness as well as the stakes of this game. I mean, winner was going to go to the Big 12 title game. I just felt like I could not exclude it. That's why it arrives at 10 on the list. Brownie, what are your thoughts? Am I foolish?
I think this was definitely one that I had right on that borderline. I think it was definitely the antics puts it up into the top 10. Just because the end, like you said, they rushed the field, they had to get everybody off. But when you watched it, a lot of the fans weren't back in the stands. They were just behind the sidelines. And then we had, I think this was the game, and Jackson, you might have to correct me on this one. I think this is the game where Kenny Dillingham, after the game, got swarmed by fans, and he was like, "Let's fucking go!"
Yep, this is the one. Yes.
Yep. I thought that this was the one.
Arguing with an official at the end of this one when he was surrounded by fans too. Yeah.
Yeah. This was one of those where we learned that Kenny Dillingham is literally like us.
Yes.
When we play sports games, like we are the ones that freak out. So it was into the mastermind.
Yes. I feel like this game completely captured the oeuvre of the 2024 Arizona State chaos. It was quintessentially Arizona State 2024, where you just had Cam Scadaboo being an absolute unit. Right here, he had 28 carries, 147 yards, and 3 touchdowns. You had just the pandemonium of the fans rushing the field. Kenny Dillingham being him, right? It was as long as you're not a BYU fan, it was just about everything that you'd want from a Big 12 game in this new 16-team Big 12 era, I think.
I agree.
All right, there we go. So that's number 10. Moving right along down the list. And you know what? I almost didn't include this one just because it made me so viscerally angry. But I can't be sitting here making a documentary about TCU coming back from 31 down in the Alamo Bowl and not act like comebacks aren't thrilling and exciting. UCF derailing TCU's season very early on, 35-34. I don't know, Brownie, if you watched this one live. I, of course, was there. It was not fun for me, but it was, you have to admit, it was a thrilling game. Frogs were up by 3 touchdowns at one point. Yeah, so the score was 28-7. And then shortly thereafter, 31-13. You know, every TCU fan in the stadium is thinking UCF is dead to rights. And UCF just ran the ball. That's all they did. Ran the ball, and TCU couldn't stop it. TCU could not convert first downs, could not move the ball ourselves. And there you have it. One of UCF's 4 victories on the season.
Didn't you guys also have a bunch of blocked punts or field goals or something this game too?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, we blocked 2 or 3 of their extra points field goals. Yeah, let me look back at that in the play.
Because I thought that like there was like a title or something about it that like
Frogs blocked 3 kicks and led by 3 touchdowns. Yeah, I was. I ran into so many friends and like former players, and just like, you know, this was the whole me screaming LFG and like, we're back, and like, here we go, like we're you know, we're gonna be winning the Big 12, and this is gonna be amazing, because we were thinking UCF was gonna be a little bit better than they were. Yeah, and just from that complete elation to just utter defeat as Kyle Limmerman's kick went wide in the final seconds of the game. Man, I won't be rewatching this one, but hey, if you're a TCU hater, you should rewatch it because it was a good one.
and yet another game that got decided within the last minute of regulation. And there's going to be a plethora of them, spoiler alert, plethora of them on the top 10 list.
Yes. Yeah. Almost every single game on this top 10 list came down to within the final minute, if not final seconds of the game. And there's games that I left off the top 10 list that came down to the final seconds of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that good of a season. It was that. This is what we wanted, right? This is everything the Big 12
full transparency, like sheer chaos. Top to bottom is more well-rounded and more well-stacked. Well, besides Okie State and Utah, but yeah, it was kind of a nice change of pace. But yeah, this game, I didn't get to watch all of it. I did watch a portion of it after. I think this was like on after the Iowa State game. So it was one of those that I tuned in like right after we were done or listening to it on the way home. So I didn't get to see the whole sheer and utter chaos, but I remember looking at the box score and going, how do you literally get outscored 28-13 in the second half after what looked like a very dominant performance in the first?
Yeah. And you know what? If these stat leaders aren't indicative of TCU's entire season, I don't know what is. Josh Hoover throws for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Jack Besh gets 200 yards receiving. Cam Cook is the leading rusher with 35 yards, and we give up 180 yards to RJ Harvey on the ground. That's TCU's 2024 season right there, and those 4 stats.
What's wild to me is how you guys didn't figure out how to use the run game quite yet. I mean, you guys obviously got it figured out towards the end of the season, but I'm also shocked that KJ Jefferson had more than like 100 yards and no interceptions. While RJ Harvey had less than 200 yards on the ground.
Yeah, listen, this guy Hudson, and his first name is escaping me, Kobe Hudson, he had himself a game. He had a really great game that caught some really difficult balls, if I remember correctly, at least one difficult ball. But also, UCF fumbled at one point, and they didn't review. They either didn't review it, or they did, and they made the wrong call. But that was another situation where, like, we could have gotten that momentum back and regained control of the game theoretically, and it passed us by. But you know,
story of my life.
It is what it is. Also, last thing I will say about this is, for those of you who don't know, it is bad luck when the Frogs don't have a horned frog on the helmet. Okay, there have been very few instances in my lifetime when TCU has not had the frog on the helmet and they've won, especially in a big game. All right. I can count on one hand. One of them, I mean, they did it against Utah. They won without the frog on the helmet. But so if you're ever playing TCU and the frog's not on the helmet, You should immediately start feeling good about your
Was
chances.
this just a block TCU then?
Yeah, just the block TCU. I don't want to play any highlights because the last time I played highlights during one of these top 10 shows, the video got flagged. But yeah, let me see if I can actually just find an image for you. Shebang bang. You might be able to see it here. Well, you can see it there a little bit better. Why are these so small? All of these pictures. Okay, here we go. Josh Hoover. Surely you can see that one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The
Okay.
Dallas Morning News image.
So it was a black with a purple script?
Yes, black with a purple block TCU, and I believe there was like a lizard
Rip.
print on there. No, it was just matte black, I guess. Yeah, here.
Oh.
Thank you, Dallas Morning News. All credit to the Dallas Morning News. There we go. That's what the uniform looked like. So yeah, if you're playing TCU and there's not a frog on the helmet, hammer your team.
I am gonna now specifically watch for TCU's equipment staff to post pictures and place my bets accordingly.
Yeah. Yep. And Timothy, your opinion is correct. We should not have lost that game. We should not. But as I said, it's indicative of the way that our season.
Here we are.
Yeah, but here we are, and that's why it's number 9. Moving right along to number 8, the Sunflower Showdown, boys and girls. Kansas State defeating Kansas in the final seconds of the game. They hit a 51-yard field goal. Actually, no, not final seconds. Final 2 minutes. So Chris Tennant kicked a 51-yard field goal. 2 minutes to go in the game. And this is, Avery Johnson had, one of the games of his life. Let me pull up the stats for us here. This is one that I love, a rivalry game that comes down to the wire. If Kansas had found a way to win this one, probably would have put it higher on the list. But as it is, it's coming in at number 8. Brownie, what do you think?
This was yet another time that Jalen Daniels needs to learn what tucking the football is. Because I'm pretty sure the last play that Kansas had for them, I think it was even like a second down. It wasn't even a fourth down. And he just fumbled the football.
Yeah.
So how? Why?
Yeah, not his brightest moment. Let's see here so K-State rattled off a touchdown, a safety, and another touchdown after Kansas initially goes up. Kansas battles back. Going into the fourth quarter, they're up 27-23, and then you get 2 field goals from Chris Tennant to be the hero. Yeah, just and look at the win predictor, right? It's one of those where it's like, hey, Kansas might actually win this. Brr, never mind. Just
that looks like my stock portfolio. Up, crash.
Yes. Thank you, FDIC, for existing. Thanks, FDR. Timothy, okay, I know you're saying, yes, fair use laws, I should be able to play highlights without music, but that's exactly what I did last year when I did the top 10, and I literally, they cut me off. I went offline for a period of time, so I'm not going to test it. But yeah, I don't have a whole heck of a lot to say about this. It was a, hard-fought game between 2 rivals. It's shockingly the only Kansas game on my list, spoiler alert. And Kansas played in a lot of really competitive games. I was very close to including that Kansas BYU game with losing a game because a punt hit you in the noggin. That's never fun. Kansas just actually absolutely blew through that latter half of their schedule, if y'all will recall. Then a lot of thrilling games there among them. I might as well shout them out now, give them some honorable mentions.
Yeah, it was one of those when you showed me the list, I was like, I don't understand how you don't have the Iowa State, the BYU, or the Colorado game on there for them. Because I had all of them definitely up there, but if you're talking game specific, I think the BYU KU game would have been the only one that I would have put on there.
That's the one I was closest to.
Yeah, even though the other 2 were very important at the time, especially for Kansas, but I think the real reason why I had all 3 of them close to the top 10 is the way that those 3 games changed the entire spectrum for the Big 12 championship game. I mean,
Mhm.
that's as soon as, like, they beat Colorado, the what if-ism chart that came out all of a sudden went from, like, 8 prongs to, like, 38, where, I mean, there was even an opportunity of TCU getting into the championship game if
Yeah.
all of the parts fell. So, I I love the chaos. I hated that I was part of the chaos, but chaos exists for a reason, and I like it.
Yeah. Yep. And Jackson, I totally agree with you. Yes, I wanted Kansas to win because I too am a sucker for underdogs. I do. This does confuse me though, coming from you. Aren't you an Alabama fan? Like Stan, you're a sucker for underdogs. Oh my gosh, I don't know if y'all
Well, he
saw this.
already saw the Vanderbilt one, so he
That's true.
probably wanted another one, so
That's
that
true.
way he didn't feel as bad.
I don't know if y'all saw this. And this has nothing to do with the Big 12, but it also has nothing to do with football. But speaking of the state of Alabama, Auburn was giving out free prostate exams before one of their basketball games this past week. Did you see this, Brownie?
No.
Oh
Why
my
was
god.
this not mainstream media, though?
I tweeted about it and I'm like, nobody's giving this any attention. What, this is hilarious. And I think
Free
somebody was like,
prostate
oh, it's
exams.
a blood test. They're not sticking fingers up your butt. But I'm like, I don't care. They're offering prostate exams.
Have
Here
they
we go.
never had a prostate exam?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a difference between a prostate exam and a physical.
Yeah.
I'm just
Uh,
saying.
hold on. Let me, okay. I've got the tweet here. This just needs to be discussed. All right. Here we go. Auburn men's basketball. Auburn men.
This has to be
Reminder to
banned.
go get a prostate screening before today's game. The Mike Sly Foundation will be up in the main concourse in front of the Hall of Honor until halftime. Best thing you can do is detect early. War damn. So, I just have this picture of all of these Alabama men lined up outside of a
Dion?
semi, like a little curtain, one of those like temporary curtains, and just getting fingers up their butt before
I
the
have a
Auburn basketball game.
lot of questions about this promotion. Like, a lot of them. Like, I understand the foundation. I also understand that you do want to check yourself on a regular basis.
Yes, man, it is important
It
to
is very important.
prostate cancer. Yes, it's avoidable, but
Yes.
at a basketball game in the main concourse,
Right, that's the question I have. It's not only in the main concourse, but it's right in front of your Hall of Honor.
yeah,
And it's going until halftime,
yeah,
which means
no,
people can get prostates checked during the first half of the game.
yeah, you're
And
like,
you're
oh
number 1
man,
overall?
yeah, like, oh, we just missed 2 free throws. I'd rather have a finger up my butt than watch this. Well, you can.
Also,
Luckily, you
real
can.
question, what the heck is War Dam? I thought it was War Eagle. Or are
Well,
they just adding more words?
so my understanding is that in response to Roll Damn Tide, they say War Damn Eagle sometimes. So I guess War Damn is just a shortened version of War Damn Eagle, but it's very
Yeah, but
dumb.
they got that fancy check mark, so they don't have to follow the rules of character limits. So, also confused.
Yeah, you could say War Damn Eagle,
God,
or
why did we lose to these guys?
yeah, yeah, man. So anyway, if anyone's in the market for a prostate exam,
Oh my
well,
god.
you missed the boat actually,
Missed
but
the boat.
just keep a lookout for Auburn's basketball Twitter. There'll probably be another opportunity. All right.
That is
So anyway,
weird. I'm gonna have to tweet about that.
yeah, yeah, maybe yours will get more attention than mine did. I had a couple of bangers over the weekend that got no attention. This happens to me all the time. I feel like I'm like, oh, this tweet is going to do numbers, and it never does. It gets like 3 likes. I'm like, dang. And then
I
I
was
just
gonna
do something
say,
dumb, and it'll get likes.
all the things that I think that are gonna be bangers are not bangers, and then, like, the really stupid tweets that I get just pop off.
Yes, yeah, exactly the same. Yeah. All right. Speaking of really stupid, the TCU Texas Tech rivalry, the battle for the saddle. That's my number 7 game on the list. Probably the game, just off the top of my head, the TCU game that I had the most fun watching this past season. It was almost vintage 2023 a little bit because the Frogs got down early. This is, by the way, well, the Frogs were up early, then they got down. This is when TCU discovered its
Assist?
running game. with Savion Williams.
Was this also the Trump T-shirt got
Yes.
benched, replacement kicker came out and then missed the game-winning field goal?
Yes, this is that one.
That's this game?
Yep, that's this game.
Just call it the karma game at this point.
The karma game, yeah. So Frogs were down 31-14. Very similar situation to, I mean, you can see it's the exact same score as the UCF game and almost an identical situation. Frogs down 31-14. Start running the ball with Savion Williams in a Wildcat formation. And then the game winner, Eric McAllister, does this. So he did this once in every single game. We throw to Eric McAllister one time. He'd do a little pirouette and then run for like 80 yards and score. And that's what he was good for every game. One catch for like an 80-yard score. And it's like, maybe we should do that more. No, okay. But yeah, and then it comes down to Tech is driving, and as I recall, I know you're saying there was a missed field goal. As I recall, we forced a fumble on the last drive of the game. Let me look actually at the play-by-play to remind myself.
I just remember that two fumbles. They had back-to-back fumbles, and then something about a missed field goal too.
Yep. Yep. Forced
that
two
was
fumbles,
earlier in this season or earlier in the game.
Defense. Yeah, I don't think we missed field goal. I don't think they missed a field goal. Oh, yeah, much earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was after his. Was that after his fake field goal attempt, or was that later where they did the fake field goal touchdown?
It would have been after the fake field goal touchdown. That was really early in the game. Okay. And because that's when he showed the Trump shirt.
The Trump shirt.
Or the MAGA or whatever it was. Yeah, Reese Burkhardt. It was the second touchdown. Okay. 4-yard run. Here we go. But the Saddle's back in Fort Worth. You know, you love to see it. And it was a fun game. It's a fun game to get it there.
You know, right. we have a saying for this. For Iowa State fans, it's called the cardiac clones. You're going to have to come up with something like the heart attack horned frogs or something.
Yeah,
for all these close games.
We should have come up with something in 2022. You know, I think everyone was just so much on the Hypnotoad train.
Hypnotoad.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to number 6, and this game was a blast and a half. BYU beating Oklahoma State 38-35. Jake Retzlaff throws a touchdown with 10 seconds left in the game, a 35-yard touchdown to Darius Lassiter.
I'm still pissed at this game.
To keep BYU undefeated. Why are you pissed at it, Brownie?
So, we were talking about it earlier, and I was like, God, I really don't remember this game. And then you were like, oh, yeah, Okie State, scored with, a minute left. And I was like, oh, my God, now I do. So, in the play-by-plays, Alan Bowman passes it to Brennan Presley. The first down mark was on the 4-yard line or something crazy like that. And he could have gone down at the 1. Nobody was around him. He was wide open. He could have gone down, forced BYU to use all of their timeouts that they used in that last possession. And they could have reduced that game clock as well down to less than a minute, especially the way that Okie State's defense was playing all season to that point. I did not trust Okie State to stop Retzlaff. Mm-hmm. So I was extremely pissed off. I think I even tweeted about it where I was like, why do you not go down? This, I think I even said it sarcastically, no way that this comes back and bites Okie State in the butt or whatever. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, hey, look it. They did the impossible by not knowing how to tackle on, what was that, a 30 or 40-yard touchdown pass?
35 yards.
Bro, what are we doing? Go down. Go down at the 1. NFL teams do it all the time. Yeah. Saquon Barkley gave up a free touchdown to go down at the 1 and ice a game.
I mean, but because that was a go-ahead touchdown for them. Yes, so they needed that touchdown. So the alternative is, what if he goes down and then you can't punch it in on 4th down?
Risk is worth it because he goes down. It's 1st and goal. You got 4 downs to make 1 yard.
Yeah.
If I learned anything, as long as you're not playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, you can push for a yard.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you're not playing against Kansas City Chiefs, you can do a lot of things.
I mean, the Kansas City refs. I mean, the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Raga, yes, good afternoon, you Pacific Ocean friend, you.
Oh, it is the afternoon there, ain't it?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I know that this got me this listen, I'm gonna play this play. Surely I can get away with showing y'all 1 minute of this play. And let me make sure that I'm not sharing the audio actually of
Get past
this.
the ad
Also
too.
share audio. No share. Okay, here we go. Let's watch this game winner from BYU. So those of you who aren't remembering it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like how do you miss? How do you miss? How do you miss?
Magic, man. That's some holy underwear magic right there.
That brings edging to a whole new level.
Yes. All right. Quick word from the boss man himself, Mark, and then we'll have the final 5 of my list. Here we go.
Ohio State, Michigan, the greatest rivalry in sports deserves the greatest debate in sports. Monday, February 17th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the main channel. It's the Ohio State, Michigan All Everything Debate with me, taking your calls all night if it takes all night. I'm pulling no punches, so beware. Bring your best intel. It's the Ohio State, Michigan All Everything Debate. It will be epic. February 17th, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Be there.
All right. Moving on to the top 5 of my top 10 list.
I agree, Rye Guy.
Hey, yeah, I got, you got to do what you got to do. Okay, moving on to the top 5. This is the time where we make Brownie sad. Texas Tech ruining Iowa State's undefeated season, 23-22. Yeah, Bun, talk about it, Brownie. Talk about it.
It was definitely one of those games back and forth, and I think a lot of us knew that it was going to be the Taj Brooks show, just because Iowa State always goes into defensive mode where it's the bend don't break mentality. So you never give up the big plays or whatever, but like Brandon Morton just showed up and had himself a day. Like, yeah, he threw 2 interceptions, but one of them was a Darian Porter interception where we learned that Darian Porter, who is like 6'3", can jog backwards faster than most players can sprint forwards, and basically mossed a wide receiver. And it just irritated me that we got the go-ahead touchdown to put us up. I think it was like 22-17. We went for 2. We failed the 2-point conversion. It was a very poorly drawn 2-point play, in my opinion. Nobody knew what the heck that they were doing. It just completely broke down. And then Iowa State got stuck in a defensive situation, almost exactly like the UCF game, where we didn't have the personnel to stop Taj Brooks from running the football. So he was running for like 10, 15 yards a play, and then came down to like that last play or whatever where they just kind of gave up and let him go in for 22 seconds. And we couldn't do shit. Like, whatever play that we had cooking did not go according to what the initial plan was. I think the best option that we would have had in that situation was the Jalen Knoll pass to Jaden Higgins. But the problem is Jalen Knoll is our fastest wide receiver and also somebody who can throw the football. And Jaden Higgins is not known for his breakneck speed. And the only other person with breakneck speed would have been Abu Sama, and it would have been really weird to have Sama in there in the situation where you needed a hands team.
Yeah.
Especially since the dude can't catch.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
were screwed.
Yeah. And you
That's
hate
right.
to see Iowa State be
Yeah.
denied best start in program history. But hey, man, any game that comes down to a touchdown being scored in the final 30 seconds of the game for the game winner,
Like,
I mean,
look
it's
at that formation. Like, 4 guys out on the left, and Taj Brooks also on the left, and he's also directly behind the center. And you're thinking that it's going to be a screen pass? Like, come on,
yeah,
get out of
yeah,
here.
yeah.
You knew where the ball was going to go. The guy on the corner for containment was even saying that it was going to Taj Brooks. And then
There it is.
Morton just bullies the defensive back.
Yep,
Depressing.
yep. That's how it went down. Taj Brooks, he had himself a year, and I can't remember. Is he coming back? Do we know if he's a senior or junior or what? He might be.
I think he is a senior, but I don't know if he has his COVID year.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, who the hell knows with eligibility. But yeah, that's my number 5 game. It was a good one. Let's be honest. It was a dadgum good game. Number 4. I mean, okay, all of these are stellar because they're in the top 5, right? Number 4, we'd all been waiting for this one. Our friends out west longer probably than some of us, but the Holy War did not disappoint, friends. Oh my goodness. And this is another one that all of the chicanery after the game is almost as entertaining as what went down on the field. Brownie, let's talk about it.
I actually had this one as my number 2.
Yeah,
When
yes.
we were talking through it, and that was just because of the pure shenanigans post game. I know that we've talked about it a couple of times on the show before, but this was one where I had the fake AD letter
Yes,
where
yes.
Big 12 Mafia had to come out and say, like, oh, hey, by the way, this is fake. Very proud moment for me in that time.
Yep.
But yeah, like this, I remember watching this game and I was like, how cool is it that a rivalry you get to basically wear your entire team's primary color for the entire jersey? And
Oh
it
my
looked
God.
sick.
We need more color on color rivalry games. It
Yeah.
looks amazing when UCLA and USC do it. It looks amazing when BYU and Utah do it. I mean, obviously, if you got 2 teams where like the colors are too similar, it's not going to work. But I mean, come on, red and blue, like it looks magnificent. I mean, we need more of that in our lives.
Yeah, apparently me talking smack about Utah, they must have hacked my computer and turned off my webcam.
I mean, how great would it look? They're out there. How great would it look if, Iowa State and K-State are lining up in the snow, K-State's in their purple and silver, and Iowa State's in like a solid red look. I mean, how,
Yeah.
or even if it was red and gold, like, red with gold pants type of thing.
Get them gold pants out of here. I don't want to talk about them.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but like, primary colors, they look great.
I think it would be fun having an all red versus an all black look.
Yeah.
I don't think Iowa has. Well, they do have alternate black pants, but if we're specifically looking at just the Big 12 and Big 12 rivalries, I think it would be really cool if it was, an all purple versus all green TCU versus Baylor. I mean, you're looking at an all purple versus an all. I mean, you might have to get creative with the KU game. They might have to wear their reds.
Yeah.
But
well, hey, when the TCU women played against Baylor over the weekend, which by the way, TCU women just beat Baylor for the first time in my life. I'm 34 years old, y'all. Things are happening. This is crazy. But the Frogs were in their purple, all purple with the Frog script, and Baylor was wearing all gold. And it was, oh my God, it was a beautiful uniform matchup. Right.
I also think that scripts are extremely underrated, and I hope they come back for all of the teams. Iowa State just came out on Twitter and showed like our softball jerseys for the year, and it is white with red pinstripes with the Cyclone script on it. Looks immaculate. Love it. Love scripts. Jamie Pollard, if you're watching, get rid of the black I State. Nobody likes it.
I just gotta bring some light to Rye Guy here. I don't think there's ever been a situation that this is applied to less than BYU and Utah.
I don't know. It was pretty aggressive there towards the end.
Yeah, well, I guess so. But yeah, BYU
there was definitely some Mormon on Mormon crime going on there.
Yeah. So it's a 44-yard field goal with 4 seconds remaining on the clock. And then, the AD comes out and asks to see the manager.
We were cheated that game.
Nothing tastes better than Utah sour grapes, man. It's fantastic. It's what we couldn't have asked for more, right? BYU breaking Utah's hearts in an already terrible season for them. C'est magnifique. And yes, yes, Oklahoma State women did beat Baylor and TCU. Good for you.
Yeah, I literally made the fake letter on Sunday morning. And it's kind of weird that I remember all of this because I literally made it as my wife was still sleeping. I posted it. We then went to Menards for some, which is like a hardware store, for hardware supplies to finish one of my side projects that I've been working on. And I did not check my phone at all for a solid 5 hours. And I came back to hundreds of notifications and a whole bunch of people going, he didn't say this, it's not an official statement. And I was like, how far down did you have to read to figure out that it's not an official statement? And then
we got a couple of detectives in Utah,
Yeah, no kidding. I would hope by the fourth paragraph where I made the wiggity wiggity whack statement that somebody would have figured it out.
Yeah. That's some of your finest work, Brownie. We literally can't give that enough shine.
I know, and it's kind of amusing because I've been slacking on some of the other ADs that have been chirping and chiming during basketball season this year, and I really need to get back into it because I think Arizona State's AD said something a little on the ridiculous side, post one of the basketball games and something else. I need to get back into that. It's my favorite pastime.
Spreading false information on the internet.
Heck yeah. I need to start. Right. I apparently need to put a watermark or in one size font at the very bottom saying that it's purely satirical or something.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so my number 3 game, I almost ranked this number 2. This was a barn burner, and it was early on in the season. Colorado beating Baylor 38-31 in overtime. This game had several almost endings. It ends up being a Hail Mary that, okay, so here we go. Shedeur Sanders hits a Hail Mary as time expires to tie the game, 43-yard pass. And then it's in overtime that the Buffs finally win the game. In fact, let me see if I can get to playing some of these highlights. I think it is worth our time while we talk about it. Brownie, what are your thoughts on this one?
This was definitely one of those games where I think it was the beginning of Baylor figuring out how to play the game of football, and also what we knew Colorado was probably going to be the rest of the season. And watching some of these highlights, it was just extremely weird. The Baylor defensive back falls down and completely misses his mark, but also why did it take that safety that long to get there?
Yeah.
Why is 20, I think it was 24, why is he so slow to get there from his cover position? Because it wasn't a short pass either.
Yeah.
If you see, speaking from partial experience here, if you see the quarterback's eyes in that direction and you start to see the motion back to where you see him fully going back, it's not going to be a pump fake. Like, there's no way that as soon as he springs his back and it's behind his helmet that he's pulling that ball again. So it was just really weird. And then Baylor fumbles it in the end zone.
Yep.
On the back. Like, you have one job.
This kid's signaling touchdown. You know, and here, I mean, the only thing that's almost as good as a TCU win is a Baylor loss. So, you know, it's a magical time for everyone. You know, Colorado. And here's the thing. I know Colorado annoyed a lot of us throughout the year, but you can't deny this is a fun freaking game. It's a fun freaking finish. One that was tight throughout. Baylor gets out to a 2-touchdown lead. Colorado battles back. Yeah, and then the last minute Hail Mary. I mean, what more could you ask for? What more could you ask for? Colorado has a history of those Hail Marys, by the way.
Yeah, they also have a history of fifth downs.
They do that too. Yes. Right, guy. Don't you why? No, don't talk to me about the Cowboys right now. I don't want to talk about the Cowboys right now. All right, me and the Cowboys we're on a break right now.
He's a Chargers fan now.
I mean, like, listen, I've always loved the Chargers. They may be my primary rooting interest, at least until Jerry Jones dies and Stephen Jones dies and the whole family leaves the state of Texas. No,
wow, you and Bears fans have something in common.
Man, I'll tell you what, like, it's so frustrating. It really is. It's okay.
They're in win now mode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Golly Moses. All right. I mean, you know, and it could. I guess there's a world where it could turn out if his staff is decent. Brian Schottenheimer could turn out to be a decent coach, but it's just the process to hiring him was so absurd.
That's not going to happen. Come on,
it's not going to happen. Yeah, but like, you know, there's people that are starting to convince themselves that we're like, well, maybe it'll be okay. But it's like, bro, they literally didn't even talk to. They didn't talk to Ben Johnson. They didn't talk to Aaron Glenn. They didn't talk to any of the top candidates. They let Mike McCarthy walk super late in the process. And Jerry Jones is allergic to leaving the Star in Frisco. So he's like, oh, there's Brian Schottenheimer. I'll just talk to him. He's never had an offense within the top 25 of the league. You know, let's talk to him.
Anyway. I mean, you don't have a top 25 quarterback, so makes sense.
Well, that is also true. That is also true. All right. Top 2 of the list. 2 bowl games this year are at the top of my list. And that just doesn't often happen. And here's the thing. If this game had the reverse result, it's an easy number 1. But as it stands with all of the Kansas City Chiefs-esque chicanery, the Peach Bowl coming in at number 2 on my list. It was a thriller, y'all. I mean, Cam Skattebo in full superhero mode, putting the team on his back. 30 carries, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a passing touchdown. He caught a ball after his helmet got ripped off. I mean, Texas was getting away with this, that, and the other thing, and still only managed to beat Arizona State by 8 points in double overtime because Kenny Dillingham decides to run a 0 blitz on 4th down. Boy, this was a fun game, though. Real fun game.
Yeah, my wife and I actually went to the Iowa State women's basketball game that was happening during roughly the same time. So I was watching on really crappy Hilton Coliseum Wi-Fi. And we got out of the game and we started listening to it on the way home. And I was like, oh man, like this is Arizona State's game to lose, really, than it was Texas's game to win. And then I was like reading through the stats and their secondary was doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
And I just I felt sickened because they left a tight end wide open. They left that wide receiver that was burning them all game wide open at the very end that got him into the overtime. This game for me actually was on my honorary list just because this was Texas home cooking through and through. I actually had Baylor or the BYU Colorado Bowl game actually as my number 2 because it was the actual Big 12 championship game according to both teams, not just BYU.
It was a fun game to watch teams. Even if it wasn't a tight game.
Yeah, it was a blowout But that's why it was my number 2, because both teams were like, "Oh yeah, if we were in the Big 12 championship game, we would have sold out the stadium, and it would have been extremely close." Buddy, no, it was not. It was not full, and it was a blowout. Not even close.
Yeah. Right, guy, I so agree with you. Why did it have to be the school in Austin? Why?
Yeah, nobody
And
likes the school in Austin.
it would have been so sweet if Arizona State could have pulled this out. And truly they did, if it wasn't for all the home cooking. But, we've all seen it 1,000 times. Any of us who have spent
Bob
any amount
Bowlesby
of
must have
time,
been there.
yeah, in the same conference as Texas. I mean, it is what it is. Timothy, you're right. Refs robbed them. The Great Atlanta Robbery, right? The Great Atlanta Screw Job is what I called it. But yeah, it's worth though watching these highlights just to see Cam Scadaboo just be an absolute monster for one last time in college. Let me tell you, as long as we're talking about the Cowboys, this feels like a Cowboys pick, like picking Cam Scadaboo at 12. But I wouldn't mind it. I honestly, I would probably be getting a Scadaboo Cowboys jersey if it came down to it. That'd be a fun one.
Hopefully he'd be better than Bijan Robinson.
Yeah. Jeez. I also saw something along the lines of after this game that whoever drafts Scadaboo, every frat boy in America is going to have a Scadaboo jersey by next fall.
Oh yeah,
you're going to see these at all the frat parties, all the Kappa Sig parties. And,
ASU is going to basically treat Cam Scadaboo just like Iowa State treated Breece Hall when he got drafted by the Jets. You just go out and get the Jets jerseys. Same with Brock Purdy. I know so many Iowa State fans that are not fans of the 49ers that have 49ers stuff because of Brock Purdy. And I am one of them. I have a Brock Purdy 49ers jersey.
Oh, sure. I mean, I have 3 LaDainian Tomlinson jerseys. 2 for the Chargers and 1 for the Jets. Because he was my favorite player of all time. I mean, he's still my favorite player of all time. He was my favorite player growing up. I was like, I'm going to have a jersey wherever this guy is. I love this guy. So yeah. I got the old blue, and then I have the powdered blue look for the Chargers, and then a green Jets jersey. Yeah. Man, why didn't the Devils win this game? We're getting into overtime now, so it's less exciting. All right, but that's that. Peach Bowl number 2, and my number 1 game of the Big 12 last season. It really wasn't much. Yes, thank you for the drum roll. It was not much of a discussion with myself. This was easy. It's the Pop-Tart Bowl. I mean, the pageantry, the magic,
the zombie Pop-Tart.
The stripping Pop-Tart, the zombie Pop-Tart. Iowa State pulling off the shocker there at the end of the game. I mean, college football does not get better than this. This is the peak. Not to mention a bunch of sour grapes at the end because, if Cam Ward hadn't sat out and blah, blah. No. That's what he did.
Nature of the bowl games.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, Brownie, I'm sure you could talk about this one for a long time, so go ahead, have at it.
Oh, dude.
Look at that win predictor.
That's it was definitely one of those where when you look at the stats, Iowa State, especially the play-by-plays, Iowa State took on these long drives, so to speak. But all of a sudden Miami would just come out and Cam Ward would score within 20 seconds of having the football in his hand or whatever. But yeah, it was kind of weird because the game started off the exact same way that the K-State game did. First play of the game, fumble. And we recover the fumble. We get the touchdown. It took us 3.5 minutes to go 22 yards. And I was like, great. This is the way that Iowa State is going to win this. It's going to be a super slow slugfest kind of thing. And then Miami gets the ball, and it's a 1-play touchdown. Then Iowa State gets the ball, and it's another 2.5 minutes for another touchdown. And I was like, okay, so we're going to turn this into a shootout. And by the end of the first quarter, when it was like 21-14, I was like, this is awesome. This is old school Big 12 air raid when nobody knew how to play freaking defense.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I am here for it, but also John Heacock needs to learn how to play defense. And I felt like neither team really knew defensively what the heck that they were doing for the first half. And then all of a sudden, the second half came, and everybody was like, oh, hey, by the way, our defense finally showed up. We're no longer playing walk ons.
Yeah.
And I think a part of it was Cam Ward sitting out in the second half. Apparently, he wanted to play the entire game. There was multiple reports saying that it was his coach's decision to sit him in the second half. That he was told at the beginning of the game that the only way he was playing that entire game is if he did not break the record. But at that point, if you didn't get the record before the second half, do you really want to risk another half?
Yeah.
I personally thought it was weird, and a lot of Iowa State fans also thought it was weird when Cam did not come onto the field for that first possession, because Iowa State did not apply pressure whatsoever that first half to him. Like, he did not get touched unless he ran the football.
Yeah.
So we were all just kind of like, oh, okay, like, I guess. But also, like, the haters that were, oh, if he was in there the entire game, it would have been a blowout. Like, Iowa State was only down 3 points going into the half. Like, what are we
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, it was back and forth the whole time. You really got the sense that this entire game, and it's cliche, but it's like whoever gets the ball last is going to win this game. And
Yeah.
it happened to be Iowa State.
Yeah,
With
I
a
mean,
minute left on fourth
the
down.
amount of times that Iowa State specifically has run that play, that exact play, it people should treat it just like the Chiefs treated the tush push against the Bills. Like, I mean, even the commentators and Tony Romo was like, "Oh yeah, like when they do the tush push, Josh Allen always goes to the left side." So what did they do? They loaded the left side. Well, Rocco Beck, surprise, Big 12, I did the homework for you. Always goes between the left guard and the center.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yep.
If you want to stack it right there. You're welcome.
Yeah. Carl, I appreciate the sentiment of this, making the Pop-Tarts Bowl a college football playoff bowl, but I'm going to push back against it because I think that it's really important and really valuable for college football to have fun, exciting bowl games outside of the college football playoff. Bowls are still such an integral part of the fabric of this sport. And if you're going to have all of the, the big names, the Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, if those are going to be a part of the playoff, then there need to be more bowls like the Pop-Tart Bowl that are going to lean into the silliness, lead into the craziness, and set up some good matchups for us outside of the playoff. Things that we can get excited about, to reward these kids for having good seasons.
An edible Tostito chip mascot. For the Tostitos Bowl?
Yeah, get a little stale, but yeah.
I mean, yeah. You'd probably have to make it the day of, but like, I kind of agree with her a little bit in the aspect of we need a lot of these college football playoff games to be more interesting with the pageantry aspect of it. You know, like it.
Well, I think the way to do that,
that's why the Pop-Tart Bowl is so freaking popular, is because, like, you get to freaking see a Pop-Tart go down into a toaster, and the players get to eat it. Like the Duke Mayo Bowl. Like, I had absolutely no skin in that game whatsoever, and I watched it because the coach got dunked in mayonnaise.
Yeah.
The Cheez-It Bowl. They had a giant Cheez-It. Like, come on.
Doing a wedding. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you need to have those type of antics to increase interest. Like, nobody wants to watch the Pinstripe Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee, unless it's their team, because it's freaking boring and half of their stadium was non-existent. But that's where I'm at. The college football playoffs are boring and bland, and they need the pageantry, and people need to learn from Pop-Tarts.
Well, I think though, and I this might have been something that we've talked about on the show, but I think a way to get back some of that pageantry and something that you should be doing with the playoff anyway is let the top seeds continue to host games until the Final Four. I think you should have the Final Four games played in those classic bowl venues, and then the championship in a neutral site. But Ryan Guy's talking about seeding and how it affected the Ducks. There's literally no reason why the Ducks shouldn't have hosted that game, right? It's a much more stale atmosphere in a neutral site, and you're giving advantage to the lower seed at a neutral site.
Exactly.
Let Oregon play Ohio State at home again, right? There's your pageantry, right? A duck riding out on a motorcycle and freaking, the Otson Zoo and all this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, that's what I would do.
And I definitely agree with that too. I just think that everybody has been so focused on creating all of these bowl games that, like, obviously you're going to get sponsorships for whoever pays out the most money, but you're telling me that, like, Goodyear can't come up with something decent, or like Doritos doesn't want in on this somewhere?
Honestly, how has there not already been a Doritos bowl?
Imagine this, okay? A Doritos Mountain Dew bowl.
Oh my God.
The teenagers would go crazy.
That would feed families.
I know. It would feed probably the entire nation.
Yeah. Yes.
It would probably be more popular than the Pop-Tarts bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just weird. Oh, and the Pop-Tarts bowl just came out with a sprinkled polo and a pullover.
I did see that. You
You
better be ordering one. Yeah,
I am.
You better be. You better be.
And I just freezes. Freezes. Overly excited. That was my face when I saw the news.
Yeah.
Just in still frame now.
Yeah. I'm just picturing too, like a Mountain Dew Pop-Tarts bowl, or not, a Mountain Dew Doritos bowl with that guy from Mad Max in the Gimp mask playing an electric guitar on a flaming truck. I feel that's the visual that I get.
Right? Or a Red Bull one.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same thing. With the cliff divers.
Yeah, cliff divers, airplane acrobatics. Like, you could have basically an entire Red Bull performance for halftime.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Why stop? Okay, that's all the show.
A face like that.
That's all the show we got for you today. Brownie, tell the people where to find you with your surprise self.
You can find me at Hoosier Burner on X. You can also follow me on Blue Sky, Wide Right Natty Light, WRNL Brownie on Blue Sky. If you do give me a follow and a like, I am doing an Iowa State / Big 12 memorabilia giveaway this upcoming weekend. So feel free to go over there. Can always find my stuff on Wide Right Natty Light's website, as well as our Wide Right Natty Light Discord, which you can find on our Twitter.
Worth a follow, folks. Worth all the follows. He's the man around here. Catch the Biggest 12 live on your favorite audio platform. We're on all of them. Please subscribe to the show. Help us grow this thing at Big 12 Points College Football. Pop over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. And follow me at Clint_Foster55 on Twitter and at Clint Foster Comedy on my personal YouTube. Until next time, folks, I love you. I hope your team wins. And go Big 12. We'll see you around.